in Atlanta? Oh. I know.
Y'all ready? All right, well, good afternoon and welcome. First of all, welcome to the Institute, but really welcome to this dedication of a column in honor of Gene Spalding's ceremony. I've had it on my appointment book really for several weeks now, and every day when I flip to my appointment book, I see on that day the Gene Spalding column dedication. And so I've been thinking about, a couple things. One is I thought about when Roosevelt probably talked to Henry Toombs, and he said, I want you to design this quadrangle. And I think Roosevelt said something like, I don't want it to look like a hospital, I want it to look like a place of learning. And so what I thought about was, well, who better to remind us of learning than Gene Spalding? It was always amazing to me that no matter how much time you spent with Gene, you always learned something. Now, it may not be something you wanted to learn, but it was probably something we all needed to learn. So I think it's very appropriate that Gene will be memorialized with the column in this place of learning, because he was certainly a great teacher. I also thought of a funny story that Martin told me. The column with the flowers in front is the Gene column, but 4 columns down from that was going to be the original column. However, the birds built a nest in that, and Martin thought that we probably shouldn't make that Gene's column because Gene would be constantly pooping on us. And I thought, well, that's pretty appropriate. But I also thought about that you may not know this, but Gene's parents, Bill and Helen, have a column in the far corner over there. So in some ways, I think that this is a nice way to have Gene reunited with his family again, up in heaven looking down on us. And I was just telling Sam, the last thought I had today is I wonder what Gene is going to bless us with today in terms of weather, and I'm sure Sam will talk about that. But I welcome you to this ceremony. Sam Hall is going to be our master of ceremony, so it's my pleasure to introduce Sam. Sam.
Thank you, Greg. This is twice now I've had to follow him. And I have learned that's not an easy thing to do. Next time, I'm going first.
Okay, got it.
Good afternoon. And I was looking around at the sky and thinking, driving down, what a beautiful day it is today. And the thought crossed my mind that maybe this is God's way of adding His blessing to the reason that we're here today. And I think there's an awful lot of truth in that, and I'm sure you probably will too. I was thinking back, driving down about the, about the first time that Gene told me that he was thinking about coming to work here, or was actually coming to work here at Warm Springs. And this was back many years ago, and a couple of thoughts about that. I remember at the time not really understanding what he was telling me he was going to do. And I remember thinking, why would he want to move from Columbus to move to Warm Springs? And also, in hindsight, I'm quite sure that neither one of us would ever have thought at that time that one day, many years down the road, he and I would be colleagues working for the Georgia Department of Labor. So I think there's some irony in that. And of course, the reason that we're gathered here today is to pay tribute to Gene, who was a friend to all of us, who was a colleague to some of us, and of course was a brother to 2 of us, to Carol and to Nancy. I mentioned when he told me he was coming to work here, a couple of thoughts about that. I'm glad that that opportunity worked out for Gene to come here. It gave him a chance to live a new chapter in an already very good life, and it also gave him an opportunity to have a tremendous impact on the lives of so many more people. For those of us who knew Gene, we know that he was an excellent example of how to live life. He certainly was an example of how you would never or should never let a physical limitation affect the way you're going to live your life. And Gene lived life to the fullest. he enjoyed life, as we all know. In fact, as I understand this, and Carol, please correct me if I'm wrong, but that's Gene. All right. So before I even get a chance, Gene loved life, and in fact, as I understand it, the last words he said, which were spoken to Carol moments before he died, was were, life is good. And Gene certainly made it good, not only for himself, but for those of us who came in contact with him. And not only through those of us who had a personal relationship with him or a professional relationship, I think we need to think about the impact he had on the lives of so many, many people. And his connection to Roosevelt Warm Springs. He helped people, his clientele, in two ways that I think of. One, as an excellent example of why a physical limitation should not be a disability, or in fact, keeping you from living life to the fullest. And that even though you may have a physical limitation, you certainly can live a very productive and successful professional life and have a wonderful, rewarding career. The other thing is, through his knowledge and his personal experience, he was able to make them aware of how to live their life better and how to utilize technology to do so. And I have long thought that what better way to be remembered than through the impact that you may have in making life better for others. And certainly Gene had a very successful and rewarding life in doing that. And with the column being dedicated here, and excuse me, I think it's very fitting when you think about the fact that when Gene was injured, he came to Roosevelt Warm Springs Institute for Rehabilitation for part of his rehabilitation. He then worked here, and as I said, impacted so many, many lives through his work here. And he came here a few days before we lost Gene as this institute's first ventilator patient. And of course, Gene passed away here. And with the memorial now joining here in the quadrangle, I think that Gene and this institute that he loved so much will be forever bonded together. And for those of us who from time to time will walk through here and will see that memorial, it will give us a chance to remember our wonderful friend. And so I think this is a great day. And Carol, I think you want to speak for you and Nancy. And let me take just a moment to introduce Gene's sisters. Carol Greiman, who is from Montana, and Nancy Cox, who lives in Albuquerque. And Carol, I think you're going to do the speaking, are you?
I guess so.
Okay.
I am just really thrilled to be here, and we're really thrilled everybody else is here. Yesterday was sort of a classic day for us with Gene. We spent the morning with Jack at Kodak and saw all the toys at his disposal where he could get wheelchairs and walkers and bedside tables for anybody. Then we spent 4.5 hours with the CPA, who kept saying, "You don't have anything else to tell me, do you?" I mean, it was rather interesting with the CPA because there were lots of things that he didn't know about. Then we spent the evening with Ed and Kathy, who've been Gene's friends since forever, and Ed kept saying, "You can't do that, Gene. You can't do that. That doesn't meet code." And Gene did everything against the code. And we spent the night here, and it was just perfect. Now, if we could have gone to the mud drags or out to a bar or something else, he would have been even happier. But I think Gene's life was pretty well memorialized yesterday. We were really blessed. He was a great brother to have. We have met more wonderful people through him. We consider all of you guys our friends and our family. And we're just real pleased to be here. When Gene had the auction sale, or maybe he didn't, but when there was the auction sale at his place, we had said that a part of the proceeds were gonna go to the Institute. And so we have 2 checks. One is made out to the park program for Kay Hartman.
Oh, wonderful.
And the other one goes to you.
Oh, that's great.
And so hopefully you will enjoy it as much as he enjoyed it here. So, that's the other thing. We've got water and pop and cookies and carrots in the living room right inside that door. If anybody'd like to come, and if anybody wants to say anything, we'd be real happy.
Oh, we're supposed to do that.
Oh, yeah, we gotta.
We're
Now,
trying to
I
get
have
out
to
of
tell
it.
you guys this, maybe nobody will appreciate my horrible sense of humor, but Nancy called me and said, we're gonna have to practice screwing. And she meant screw your class. I was right on the phone. One other thing, the reason Nancy and I are wearing what we are wearing, I don't know if anybody recognizes these, but these are both Life is Good t-shirts. And my t-shirt says, do what you like what you do. And that personified my brother completely. And we all gave each other Life is Good t-shirts for years. And the flowers came from Dee Dee's Florist. They were his good friends forever, and they once again made a masterpiece. We're lucky.
Anyone else want to-
And I think everybody knows Robert Dunlap, who was Gene's best friend for 15 years.
I want to say something about Mr. Gene. He just like a brother to me. Every day I go and sit in my chair, I always see his picture right outside my chair. And like I said, he just like a brother to me, and I miss Mr. Gene. And I just wish he can come back, and I'll be glad to see him. I just love Mr. Gene. Thank y'all.
Robert's driving the beast.
I'd rather be right in front, okay? Y'all can see the gate. Yeah.
Should we put it on upside down?
Can anyone else want to make a comment? If I could add one thing, you mentioned that you guys were very lucky to have a wonderful brother. He was very lucky to have a couple of wonderful sisters.
Definitely.
And shall we do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
You might all want to gather around the column there.